Hello, and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show. My name is Renata von Tscharner. I'm the founder and president of the Charles River Conservancy, and we'll be talking about the river, the parklands, and a very special celebration called RiverSing, a celebration to welcome the fall, the autumnal equinox. And I can't think of a better person to talk about RiverSing than our guest, George Emlen. Welcome.
Thank you, Renata.
George Emlen has been the music director of Revels, an old Cambridge institution, since '85, and Revels is in its 41st year. And RiverSing is in its 8th year. But there's a bit of history to RiverSing. We'll hear about that. But I want to take you down to the river and give you the context of how RiverSing came about. It was originally undertaken with Revels in 2004 and the Conservancy to welcome the fall. And this map shows us the river from the harbour up to the Watertown Dam, with Cambridge forming most of the river bank on the northern bank. And the Conservancy sees itself as the advocate for the river, the steward of the river, and we want people to fall in love with the river. And of course, some people fall in love landscaping. We have 2,500 volunteers who landscape. Some people fall in love reading about the river, like Inventing the Charles River by Carl Hagelin. Some people fall in love with the river swimming, and we're bringing swimming back. And we're working on a skateboarding park under the Zaken Bridge. So there are different ways to engage with the river, to fall in love with the river. Some people fall in love with the river bicycling along it. And so we're working on underpasses on the bike paths so that it's easier and safer to bike along the river. But we all love parties, and RiverSing is a very special party.
We do party.
We do party, and you know how to party. So when we started to plan RiverSing, we wanted people to also be aware of the beautiful parklands, of why they are so special. And this picture goes back all the way to 2001. After the 9/11 event, we felt it was important to bring light to the river, so we illuminated the bridges with theatrical lights, and which was very powerful. And then we wanted to add music to the river. So we had the first RiverSing on the Weeks Bridge. That was in 2004. And it was clear for the Conservancy that while we think we are quite good at taking care of the parklands and bringing in volunteers and as advocates, there's nobody better than Revels to put events together. So since 2004, this has been for several years a partnership, and now Revels has taken it on completely and carried it forward into its 8th year and really built it into an amazing tradition. It has become a Cambridge tradition. And so let's look at RiverSing this year, coming up on Sunday, September 18th. So George, give us a sense of what happens at RiverSing.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that when you talked about the early days of collaborating, because you and I really had very complementary purposes. We at Revels love to celebrate the seasons. In fact, that's the essential thing that we're doing here. And we're marking the passage of summer into fall, and that wonderful bittersweet quality that we all feel deep down somewhere. It's a very deep, ancient passage for all of us in the northern hemisphere. You can sense this shift into colder weather and hunkering down, the beginning of hunkering down for the long months ahead. But this was the perfect place to do it. This is just the most, you talk about people falling in love with the river for different reasons, and you left out rowing because that's one of the most amazing things is to see people falling in love with the river
And,
in their shells.
And also the bridge, the Weeks Bridge, is actually where the story and the film Love Story originated. So there is definitely love in the air around the river.
Absolutely, there is. So your purposes and our purposes were completely harmonious because you wanted to celebrate the parklands and the bridge and the bridges and the river itself. And we wanted to celebrate, period. We wanted to mark the beginning of fall. This was just a perfect opportunity for both of us to have some wonderful singing. Now I'm a musician and I love to get people to sing together as often as I can. And this is an interesting event because it's really about singing. We say it's about celebrating the marking of the fall, but yes, that's true. But what do? We sing. And we sing familiar or maybe not so familiar folk songs, mostly familiar songs, starting with This Land Is Your Land and including, Down by the Riverside and When the Saints Go Marching In. We have guest singers. We have a small folk band.
All right. Before we go into the singing part, let's go back to the beginning of where how people can start. There are different ways you can start in Harvard Square, or then at 6 o'clock at the Weeks Bridge. So tell us here where it starts in Harvard Square and what's happening in Harvard Square.
This begins around 5 o'clock for us. Actually, this year it's interesting that we've actually hooked in with the agricultural fair.
That's a wonderful connection,
which is Harvard Square Business Association's party, which takes place most of the day on Sunday, the 18th. And we are working in concert with them, segueing nicely from their event into our event. So beginning at 5 o'clock, we're going to have a couple of brass bands out there playing in Winthrop Park. People will just be enjoying the good times, and there'll be, as you can see, some
face painting,
hula hoops and face paint, and just some good time. Until about 5:45, we'll muster in a big parade. There we go. We'll have two bands, one at the beginning and one at the end. As we call them honk bands, and because we have this wonderful honk festival coming up in October. Honk bands. They're good street brass musicians. And rough and ready, wonderful musicians, and a lot of spirit and energy. So
and
we'll have two of them this year.
And what are the names of
that? Well, we have the Dirty Water Brass Band for the first time.
Dirty Water.
Yeah, Dirty Water Brass Band.
Inappropriate for the river.
Oh, it's tongue in cheek. It's named for the song, which was written when the water really was dirty.
Yeah.
And then we have Second Line Social Aid and Pleasure Society Brass Band, and they've been with us for a number of years.
Yeah.
So it's great to have both of those bands working together or against each other, as the case may be, because they won't necessarily be playing the same tunes at first. So that'll be really fun. We process down to the river from Harvard Square.
All right.
And people will have puppets. They'll have banners. I think you saw a shot of the banners. And we all congregate at the river. There we are. And we have a stage set up right near the Weeks Footbridge, where our chorus people who were in the parade will get up on the chorus risers, about 100 or so, representing a lot of different choruses around Boston. And we'll start off with a poem by our poet populist, the Cambridge poet populist, Tony B. And then we're off, and we're singing. We have the band, and we have soloists and a big chorus, and thousands of people, as you saw on the bank there. Thousands, 2, 3, some say 4,000 in some of the best years.
And when you say singing, you mean not just listening to performance, but people sing themselves.
That's a great shot. There they are. Everybody gets a program, and the words are listed there. The words are given in big type, and as long as the light lasts, you can read all the words that we're going to be singing, because it's not a performance, as you said. It is a participatory event. It's really for us to sing together.
You have some choruses that have know these songs or have practiced those songs. Who are some of the choruses that you're working with?
We've worked with choruses like Mystic Chorale and Sharing a New Song, Greater Boston multi-generational chorus, and Hallelujah Singers, people like that. We've on multiple years now. We've got a lot more than that represented. Kalenu chorus is one of them, and there were probably 15 or 16 of them in all. And there aren't, whole big representative segments from every chorus, but there are some from a lot of different choruses. So it adds up to about 100.
100 kind of
singers,
experienced, trained singers.
Well, yeah, they've all come from one kind of a choir or chorus, and we had one rehearsal this week just to make sure we were all on the same page when it came to harmonies and
any
tempos.
new songs, any new secrets?
Well, yeah, we do have. Well, let me tell you about our guest artists, can I?
Yes.
Every year we throw in, we have somebody new up there on the stage with us, and this year we have the singing Niels sisters. Nerissa and Katrina Niels had a folk rock band in the 90s. It was very popular and had quite a big following. And now they're raising children of their own, and so they're just singing as a sister duo. They live out in Central Mass. So we're lucky to get them. They grew up with Revels in Washington, D.C. The whole family was in the Revels productions there, so in the Christmas Revels production.
Well, Revels, Christmas Revels, I think everybody in Cambridge knows about Christmas Revels, but just in case they don't, give us a bit of an overview of what Revels does when they're not celebrating the arrival of fall, when they're celebrating other seasons.
Right. This was the production that John Langstaff started in 1971 with his daughter Carol right here in Cambridge, and it's spread around the country since then. But that is still our main calling card, our signature production, and that's what most people know. It's been very successful for 40 years. This is our 41st, and I trust this one will be just as successful. It's a great celebration of the winter solstice and the winter season, using a lot of material from around the world. We usually choose one culture from around the world, either Norwegian or Italian or Armenian or Appalachian, Scottish, Mexican, and then we draw on the traditions from that culture: the dance, the singing, the storytelling, some of the rituals from each one of those cultures, and we try to capture and represent those traditions and all that material on stage. And we usually find a guest artist from each one of those parts of the world who come and represent those authentically and honestly.
Yeah, and just as I think the river and the Weeks Bridge are a wonderful symbol for the beginning of fall, I think when you perform Christmas Revels in Sander Theatre is, for me, is such a special winter space. The elegant wooden hall really encompasses that celebration.
Yeah, the venue itself is a very important part of what we do in Sanders Theatre, and it's part of Harvard University. We're very lucky to have it, and it's been part of what we do. But I have to say, we're also very lucky to have the shores of the banks of the Charles River. Yeah, that's also a beautiful venue.
Yeah, and I can report they have been beautifully cut by the DCR, cleaned, and our volunteer coordinator went out today to check so that everything is ready for Revels and the singers, and for you to join the Parklands and the singing on Sunday evening.